Nadia Harhash est palestinienne. Elle est écrivaine, chercheuse et chroniqueuse. Elle vit à Jérusalem. Elle vient de terminer un doctorat en philosophie à l'Université Autonome de Barcelone en se concentrant sur le genre, l'identité et la modernité coloniale. Son travail englobe à la fois la recherche académique et l'exploration littéraire. Nadia est l'auteure de plusieurs romans écrits en arabe, dont In the Shadow of Men et On the Trail of Mariam. Une histoire de la Palestine moderne à travers le destin et les tribulations de 4 femmes, toutes nommées Mariam. Nadia a également mené des recherches sur les mouvements de femmes palestiniennes et le genre dans la philosophie islamique. Pendant sa résidence au Château de Lavigny, elle travaille à la traduction vers l'anglais de son propre roman, écrit et publié en arabe, On the Trail of Mariam, version anglaise pour laquelle elle espère signer prochainement avec une maison d'édition. Voilà.
Bonsoir, and my French ends here. Thank you, Sophie. I have to say that this has been such a beautiful encounter by all its means. The beautiful chateau for sure, but it's the beautiful people that we've been involved with for the last 3 weeks. I have to say it's an indescribable, beautiful experience. So thank you, Sophie, for allowing us to be here. And thank each one of you for being here. And thanks Sol for speaking in Chinese before me, because it made Arabic looks a bit easier. So you will not be shocked to hear Arabic now. And maybe we can make a competition which is easier to the ear, especially after hearing Fabienne's kind of melodic, beautiful voice. So I hope, and thank you for the introduction. And what I will do today is reading an excerpt from The Trail of Mariam. It's a novel that I wrote in 2019, and I'm happy to say that I almost completed the translation to English. And here it is. So I think you have the paper, so I just got both Arabic and English for a little bit of taste of Arabic. اسمي مريم العذراء كنت عندما اغتصب طفولتي أخي، ومريم المجدلية صرت عندما اغتصب شبابي زوجي، وبين المريمين عشت حياتي عذراء سلبت مني براءتي، ومومسا بلا أجر على فراش رجل شره كريه المنطق عفن الرائحة، يسلب مني أنوثتي وماهيتي ليليا على فراش الزواج المقدس. أنا مريم العذرالية أو المجداء. أفضل أن أكون المجداء، فهي الحقيقة. فحياتي هي ذلك الخط الفاصل الذي يتوسط مريم تلك المجدلية، وذلك بينهما سيدتنا مريم العذراء. لكن لن يقبلني العالم كماجدة حاملة مجد اسم المجدلية، ولن يقبلني عذراء بنقاء عذرية العذراء. في المجداء الكثير من الإيحاء الإيجابي البطولي. كنت سأحتفظ به لو بقيت تلك الزوجة الصالحة على فراش الزواج، ولو تجادلت خصلات شعري بين أصابع الرجال فيما بين الأفرشة. فالزواج صون للمجدلية، والطلاق هتك براءة العذراء. Each time I find myself repeating these lines, a tapestry unfurls across my memory, a panel stretched within a frame, woven on old linen, more like a moth-eaten rug, or perhaps once a curtain stamped with squares of repeating motif. At the center of each square stood the half-length figures of 4 women, each with a halo circling her head. That tapestry once hung in our house in Gaza. It journeyed with the family through all its wandering until the war on Gaza in 2009, when its glass frame was shattered amid the rubble that consumed precious and worthless alike. Yet the woven piece itself, The piece that had rested within the frame, I later found rolled inside a bag that had remained with me. I cannot recall how it ended up there. In war, one seizes what seems essential. Why then did I gather this fragment of worn fabric, these faded images among the things I thought I must preserve? I have no idea. My mother had told me the story of that tapestry so often that it was impossible not to stow it away into memory. One of my maternal ancestors had once been a qa'im maqam, governor, in Tiberias, close to the city's sects, and it was said bound to one of its ancient churches. At times, I think the Israeli occupation began in Tiberias, perhaps because it marked the origin of a history so distant. Somehow, the tapestry found its way into my grandfather's hand after the monks had fled or been killed. He and that woven cloth, that pictured panel, were all that remained of that church, perhaps even all that remained of Tiberias itself, of its people and its stones. Often I return to the tapestry in memory and ask myself whether Mariam was among its faces. Which of those Mariams was she? Or were they all Mariams? Was there a difference between Virgin and Magdalene? Were they companions? Were all women then called Mariam? Jerusalem was my brightness. I walked at my father's side to Al-Aqsa Mosque. Those were the happiest of excursions. I loved its vast courtyards, sitting in the open square gazing at the Dome of the Rock, convinced beyond doubt that I was looking at the sun itself. When I returned to Gaza, I would tell my friends that in Jerusalem there was a place where one could sit close to the sun, and that all talk about its burning heat was nothing but lies. Injustice pressed from every side. I was trapped in that structure. My world was transformed from one filled with dreams of Jerusalem, a time still close enough to touch. I had just begun to dream, just entered that stage called adolescence, where one should discover horizons. But every move I made was a threat to family honor. And the best solution in my inevitable shame was to cover myself with marriage. And the cousin of a bride, they say, has the first right of refusal, even after she had mounted the wedding procession horse. He can ask her to dismount, and no one can get in the way of him having his desire fulfilled. How do we become victims of an interlocking system? Was I the only victim in all this? Or were they all accomplices, conspiring to ensnare me? How could my mother stand by for my brother's happiness at the price of my own despair and misery? Was I not her daughter too? Just on that distant day when my brother touched me as a child, the world turns back. Instead of punishing him, I am punished again for a crime in which I was again its victim. I'm still afraid to return to the details. I do not want to see them embodied in memory again. My life has become such a chain of painful memories and open wounds. They rise whenever I try to recall them, like the static noise that used to burst across the television screen when broadcasting ended. Were there beautiful memories in my life? I cannot remember. The school memories were the sweetest and the most brutally stolen from me, and despite all their hardships, they remain the best and most beautiful in my mind. I flee to those memories and reshape them anew, dismantling them one by one without skipping the minutest of details, playing with them in my head. Often, I turn what was once a painful memory into an exciting adventure, ending in a smile I still long for. Like that last moment at school, the moment that ended my future for a time that would stretch far away. I think of myself as a child, abandoned in boarding school while my parents and brothers guarded their honor. I think of myself as a woman, forced into marriage with a cousin who became my rapist, while my mother beat me instead of holding me. I think of myself as a mother, watching my children born with fragile bodies, and still being left alone to carry them, to fight for them, to beg for treatment that permits what politics denied. And when they died, they did not slip away gently. They were torn apart under bombardment, their bodies scattered in pieces I could not gather. I live with the terror that perhaps I fled without them, that I left them behind in that moment of fire, and that they died alone while I kept on breathing. Society did not mourn them, perhaps because there were too many losses to mourn. Grief itself was overwhelmed, and even condolences felt hollow, offered by rote, as if their death could only serve as numbers to enlarge a tragedy in the eyes of the world. In the days of Gaza's recurring wars, the details dissolve, leaving only the deafening roar of artillery, the bombardments raining down from every direction. The beach before us turned into a blazing front, explosions rising from the sea, plunging back into it, then charging toward us again. Above, the bombardment never ceased. The flares, the sonic bombs, the real bombs, all of them consuming whatever remained of us. Houses crumbled before our eyes, collapsing upon our heads. And the fortunate ones were those left with a roof still standing. In such moments, everything becomes relative, even death. People ask when it began, as if a date could hold it. Some say 2009, others say 2014, others say yesterday. I think it began in Tiberias, when monks fled and the tapestry changed hands. I think it began in 1948 and has not stopped beginning. This is what it means to live an ongoing Nakba, to wake up each morning inside an open-ended sentence about the long-anticipated but ever-delayed justice. مريم كم سئمت من هذا الاسم. Mariam, how weary I have grown of this name. And yet, I speak it, I keep it, I live it, until life itself is allowed to be more than survival. Thank you very much.